Colorado, there's this guy. He's actually built $1 million house for the mother of his children. His name is Gordon Bray. Now, Gordon Bray went to the ski resort up there called Crested Butte, Colorado. I mean, I think the elevation is like 11,000 feet, and then you go up to the ski lifts. It's a snow-capped area, even in the summer. As you'll see, when we were there in June of '04. He's got this $1 million house. He's taking care of the kids 4 out of 7 days a week, getting their lunches, getting them off to school, helping them with their schoolwork. And then, because the district attorney's taken his driver's license away, this woman has to come up and tear him down to see the project and work on the project he's building for someone else, because he won't pay child support. Why should he pay child support? He's taking care of the children half the time. Let's listen to what Gordon has to say. Through the Rocky Mountains, it was a dangerous pass there, and this is the middle of summer. Now we're in Gordon's house. This is Gordon. He's talking business on the phone, arranging a ride to get there.
Also, if you could write me bring your checkbook. I've got a bunch of bills to pay. I've got some more money to give you. And we just go from there. Thanks, mate. See ya. You have to tell me when you're filming.
Here's some of the oak work Gordon Bray did in this $1 million house. I mean, he did all the custom oak work himself. This is a very expensive house. That's one view. Here's the kitchen.
Oh, he's going too.
Getting her breakfast. I got the family dog. I mean, he's maintaining the house. There's his son.
Are you going to start over? Why did it fall down?
His son's playing a little bit of solitaire before he goes off to kindergarten. Now, I ask you, he's maintaining the home. Why should he pay her child support? She's already pulled $40,000, $50,000, or $80,000 in equity out of the house and went to live with her boyfriend just a few blocks away in Crested Butte, Colorado. Why should Gordon, this Australian-born good dad, who's taking care of his daughter and his son, why should he now have to pay her child support? He's maintaining the house? Supposedly,
you like math?
It's the person who stays in the house and takes care of the kids, but he's got the kids 4 days out of 7. This was a day in May of '04. As Gordon's getting ready to go to work, getting the kids ready. It's early morning in Crested Butte, Colorado. Let's listen in as they get ready.
Monster.
Is it? Okay.
No. The only thing I know is that is her song. I got grass for them.
Oh, 33607.
Yeah. I got.
Come and get it.
How you guys doing?
Is that Mindy?
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
Do you need me to take this one out?
Yeah.
Kurt wasn't sure, so I just got here.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be great.
Sure. And he's going to Paradise? Right?
Yeah.
Does he already want to ride too?
Pick me up. That would be wonderful. Give me a few minutes to sit.
Sure.
Here. See you, sweetheart. You have a wonderful day, and I'll see you when I get home. Okay?
Christian,
Might
you
be
want to go for a
hot now,
ride?
so. Christian, you gonna go with Mindy?
Yeah.
You just put a hat. And there's everything that you need.
You get to sit back with my dog.
Huh? Sebastian's there.
Yeah.
How cool. Thank you, Mindy.
Okay, yeah, I'll be
Christian,
back.
give me a hug. See you, son. Love you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Mindy.
You're welcome.
Here's some mementos, some of his boomerangs from Australia to remind his kids where their father came from. He's getting ready to go for work.
Okay.
He's got a friend that's going to drive him down to where he goes to work because they've taken his driver's license away. Why? Because he's taking care of the children, but they want him to pay child support to the mom. And we spoke to the mom. And all she could tell me, she wouldn't go on camera, is that Gordon used to have a drinking problem before the kids came along. Well, there goes Gordon. He's off to work, being driven by a person who wants Gordon to lay the foundation and build them a brand spanking new $1 million home. Is there something wrong with this picture? Yeah, there is. There's something very wrong with this picture. So we went down to the courthouse, asked the DA, what gives here? Gordon's being the good dad, working and taking care of the kids 4 out of 7 days, and you want him to pay child support to the mom who's already taken $50,000 or $80,000 in equity and moved in with her boyfriend. It's not like she needs the money. But they're trying to force him to sell the house. And he's got a $900,000 house, believe it or not, in that city. You just got to wonder, what is gained by this other than trying to destroy a successful man who's taking care of his children, taking away his driver's license, then arresting him for driving his son to school without a license? I mean, major crime here, drive your son to school. There's no reason he shouldn't have had his license. This is just the way they destroy men, because they want him to pay money through the system so the federal VAWA money in matching funds will come down. That's what they care about. They don't care about the children. And this case drives that home really clear. Let's take another look at this area they're living in there. Here's the view of the house as it looks on the real estate flyer in May of '04, and he's being forced to sell the house because he can't make the payments because they won't let him have a driver's license. And one has to wonder, what good does it do when he's taking care of the children 4 to 7 days of the week? He's taking care of them in this house that he built for his children and the mother of his children right there at Crested Butte. You can practically walk over to the ski lifts. This is May, turning into June, and there's still snow on the mountaintops. This is a gorgeous place of real estate. A lot of people would love to live there. And in all this beauty, all the DA can think about is getting more federal VAWA funding by making somebody pay child support to somebody else when, number one, she doesn't need it, number two, she's perfectly capable and is working an independent job, and number three, if they force him to lose his job and lose the house, the kids then don't have the house they're used to living in. This doesn't make any sense. The only good this does is to bring in the ka-ching, ka-ching VAWA dollars, the violence against women and children, free federal money that comes to the state, to each state, to help them balance their budgets, but it only comes in proportion to the amount of child support totally paid by non-custodial parents. That's why the judges love to make somebody a non-custodial parent, usually the person earning the most money. They don't care if they ruin the kids' lives. That's the least concern. That's what's got a lot of dads ready to fight. Here's Gordon Bray at work on the backhoe, building a $1 million home with a terrific view of the mountains up in the Rocky Mountains in Crested Butte, Colorado. This is a manly man, a man who's standing up to the district attorney's abuse for taking away his driver's license, threatening him with jail, and he's working. He's trying to keep working, and they're trying to force him to pay child support even though he's taking care of the children 4 days out of 7. The kids are with their dad, not with their mom and her new boyfriend. And I got to ask you, why should the mom get child support when she's taking care of the children less time than the dad is?
Yeah, it's going to be better when I have Emily up here too. So what?
And we caught up with him on the phone in '06, and he didn't have much time to talk because he had his kids and he was shopping and he was busy. So here we have a record of over 2 years this man is standing up to the abusive government authorities trying to force him to pay child support when he's supporting them.
few rocks in there. So did you see the ex or the county attorney?
Well, actually, we did. We went to the county courthouse, which looks like a giant yellow house in the county seat there, about 30 minutes away from Crested Butte. And we talked to the DA. And here's the funny part. The DAs were conspiring, and they didn't know I was out in the hallway. And I'm listening to them conspire. And they admit what they're doing to Gordon Bray is wrong, but they're going to do it anyway. So I knock on the door. I said, "Gentlemen, I'm William Wagener. Can I get an interview on camera about Gordon Bray?" "No," they say. And I said, "But didn't you just admit that, he's taking care of the kids 4 days out of 7? You've taken away his driver's license, and you're trying to force him to pay child support." "We have no comment," says the district attorney and his assistant, who, by the way, goes to the same church Gordon Bray does. They see each other every Sunday. What kind of a Christian would try to torture and extract money out of a man he goes to church with? Well, here's the courthouse. It looks like a big yellow house, but it's actually the courthouse. The courtrooms are mostly on the second floor. And we stood in the courtroom where they had threatened Gordon Bray, a strong-willed, tough Australian man who does not want to abandon his daughter and his son, who's taking care of him. And yet all the court can say, all Stephen, Patrick, and the other judges there can say is, we want him to pay child support even though he's supporting the children. This is the court under the wonderful system of the state of Colorado. Is this really justice? Or is this just about bringing more federal funding money through VAWA, the Violence Against Women and Children Act, which only sends money in proportion to the total amount of child support? I just got to ask you, does this make sense to you? Is it better if he loses the house his children love and they know their father built just for them? He loses the house because he can't work. Would that have been better? Apparently the DA thought so, or he didn't really care. He just wanted him to pay child support. And this strong-minded Australian man stood up and said, "You know what? I'm taking care of them. We have this agreement. I'll take care of them half the time or more. She can go off with her boyfriend. She don't want to have a life with me. Let her go. But I'm the dad, and I'm staying here." And as you saw those pictures, he was the dad. He's there in the morning. He's up. He's sober, stone sober, and working his butt off because he loves his kids. What's wrong with the DA? What's wrong with the DA? At night, he's there going over the schoolwork with his children. Let's take another look here. There he is with his kids. He's doing his job. What's wrong with this picture? Why can't they let him do his job? Well, let's let Gordon speak for himself. We'll go back to that tape. Listen to Gordon Bray, a tough Australian dad.
You understand? And you're going to have to do it now. I don't want your time. You had a whole week.
Like 5.
No, it's... You're going to go and find this.
Where's his car? I can't see.
The shovels on the porch let you know that it wasn't many weeks ago they were shoveling snow. The boomerangs that remind his children of where
This is
their
William
dad comes
Wagener.
from,
I'm here
Australia.
with
Let's
Gordon
listen to the interview we had
Bray
with
of
Gordon
Quest-
Bray in Crested Butte.
Colorado. Did I say that right?
Crested Butte, Colorado.
And your name is?
Gordon Bray.
I am here. This is William Wagener. We're here with Gordon. Gordon, you got a divorce, what, 3 years ago?
Yeah, approximately.
3 years ago.
2 years ago. Separated 3 years ago.
And prior to that, you and your wife had had a couple of separations of some kind and reconciliation.
Correct.
And you have 2 children.
Correct.
And now you've reached a point. Has the Child Protective Services agency, the county government agencies, been of use to you? Have they been useful to you in getting on with your life and sharing the kids 50-50 and having amiable relationships?
They've been 100% detrimental.
The government agencies?
The government agencies clearly across the board have been detrimental. They have not been any help. Not only that, but they actually have been incredibly detrimental.
Detrimental to you or detrimental to your ex-wife or both of you or the children or?
To myself and my children, they've been extremely supportive of the ex.
Does that surprise you?
Not any longer. It did at first.
Okay, now you're from Australia, right?
Mm-hmm.
You were born and raised in Australia.
Yes, I was.
And you came to America when you were, what, 25 or so?
Something like that.
Okay, and you like America?
Yeah.
You're going to become a citizen someday and stay here? Or
No.
you're not going to become a citizen,
No.
but you want to stay here?
Yeah, my children, this is my children's home, and certainly I want to stay with my children. If it wasn't for my children, I wouldn't be here now.
Okay. So what's the #1 important factor in your life today?
My children.
Your children.
No question, it's my children.
And you're okay with the fact that you divorced the mother of your children has decided she doesn't want to live with you anymore? She's going a different route.
No, I'm not okay with the fact that I'm divorced because she wouldn't marry me. And she was granted a divorce under common law. And I never had any say in it. I didn't have any say. They said, yep, you're married, 2 kids, you had insurance. We never had the same bank account. And she wouldn't marry me. I proposed to her. And she was granted a divorce. And it still puzzles me to this day how a person that won't commit to something can legally uncommit.
That's a good, interesting legal point. I think there's a thing called common law, and they consider you legally married if you live together and have kids for 2 years in most states.
Here at 7-7, if you hold yourself out as married, then it's common law. Now, I could accept that if the courts could accept common law proceedings, but they cannot, and they will not accept common law proceedings. So from the beginning here in this case, there is a switch of common law to statutory that is done without consent, without knowledge of the parties.
So your objection is the courts accept common law marriage, but then they won't accept common law
Proceedings.
proceedings for the divorce and everything else.
Correct.
So the courts...
Not only did they accept the common law, they mandated it. They mandated the common law marriage and then would accept nothing else on common law.
Sort of unfair of the courts, isn't it?
That's one way of putting it.
Well, you're still sitting in the house that you built over, what, the last 3-4 years? 5 years?
Yeah, built it 3 years ago. Finished it about 3 years. Well, I never really finished it, but moved in about 3 years ago.
And your ex-wife, Shirley, she agreed to move out of the house, leave you in the house. And you had a equity distribution where she took $100 and some thousand equity out of the house.
That's correct.
She got that in cash out of the house.
Correct.
But she also agreed not to ask for alimony or what they call wife's spousal maintenance. Is that correct? Or is that not correct?
Well, depends on what you term what I've been charged with.
Okay. And the courts have decided to, based on a period of years of income, to set your child support at what, $622?
No, it was first it's $1,200, then $700, then $650, then $625 for the 2 children as child support.
Now, why do they ask for that? Because I just witnessed you're taking care of the children. The children are living here in the house with you. You got them at least half the time, if not more.
Why do the courts feel you should pay her child support?
William, that's correct. I have the children more than half the time anyway. And the court arbitrarily, clearly arbitrarily, named the ex the custodial parent. Now we have what's called shared parenting, and there's supposed to be no custodial parent. However, once you get to the child support worksheets, and if you talk to social services here in this county, they will tell you and show you in writing that she is the custodial parent. So one parent is made the custodial parent. That is, they have, theoretically, the children one night a year more than the other parent, at least. That has never happened. It has never happened.
So in the last 3 years, you've always had the children more than half the year.
Absolutely. It'll happen again this year.
And is that a bad thing?
No, it's a wonderful thing. I love my children. I want to be with my children, absolutely. So, going back to your question is, what am I paying? Isn't that alimony?
Ah, so they are getting alimony. They just call it something else.
Yeah, they use the children as an excuse. Sure.
And now the alimony will go on until the children are 20 or 21 years old.
Yeah, supposed emancipation, that is so vague, and clearly in this state, most states in the United States, it's very vague, and it can go through the child until the child's in their mid-20s.
Is that fair? In your opinion, is that fair?
That's a rhetorical question, right?
Well, I'm trying to get your opinion.
Is it clearly, it's not even a question of fairness, because fairness would have logic and reason behind it.
Okay.
And this is lacking logic and reason.
So you're going to fight the child support order.
Yeah, I have been for a couple of years now.
And you've paid how much in child support to date so far? That they've garnished, taken, or you voluntarily surrendered?
Lost count. I don't know. It's in the thousands.
Okay, they're still claiming 13,000.
Reportedly, that's correct right now, 13,000. But they're also claiming another 700 a month. Let's see, 625 in child support, 700 a month in more equity in this house. Mind you, she also didn't have to pay any closing costs on refinancing the house. That which I can't get out of the house, they want another 58,000. That's a 700 a month. Plus, I've been ordered to pay the children's health insurance, which is about $250 a month. Oh, and I was also ordered to pay the ex's health insurance for the first year and a half, which was another couple hundred a month. Plus, I'm ordered to pay half of daycare, which I'm fine with, but I'm ordered to do that. Mind you, I'm the only one ordered.
And you've got the children.
And I have the children.
It certainly doesn't seem fair. It seems like your main crime is simply being of the male gender. It seems to be your main.
Could be. I don't know what my crime is, although I've been threatened with the jail sentence with no specified time period. In fact, the jail sentence was jail time to be served until the debt was paid in full.
How could you pay the debt if you're in jail?
Well, I can't. Furthermore, I have no relatives. My only known blood relatives are my 2 children. I have no relatives in this country. I have a stepdad that lives in Bangkok, in Thailand. That's it.
So they've virtually reintroduced debtor's prison. That's what they've done, which I thought we abolished in 1819. Almost 200 years ago, I thought we abolished debtor's prisons in America.
Yeah, I guess you could call it debtor's prison, or you could call it a slavery prison, or you can call it a number of things.
What do you call it?
Idiotic. It just lacks reason and logic. I don't know what to call it.
Do they do this in Australia where you're from?
Apparently so.
You have
What I
acquaintances
understand,
back there and they're doing the same thing there too.
Throughout Australia, throughout Britain, throughout Canada, throughout the U.S.
Have you ever been convicted of a misdemeanor or a felony in America?
Not until recently.
Oh, you were recently. Or what was the misdemeanor?
Actually, I haven't been convicted, but driving without a license. My driver's license was taken away
because of the child
because
support.
of the child support. And when I was picking up my daughter from school and I was picking up my son from preschool, I was pulled over. I wasn't speeding. I didn't run a stop sign. There was no traffic violation whatsoever. And they kept us on the highway for approximately 45 minutes and charged me with numerous crimes.
How old was your son when the highway patrol or the police officer kept you on the highway? How old was he?
5.
Your son was 5 years old.
He was at the preschool at the time. My
He was
daughter
at
was
preschool.
9. She was in the truck with me. There was no traffic violation. And she was 9, and they pulled me over. And so because I had my daughter with me, I complied with the best I could. And the police officer made a mistake on the ticket, came back around to my house, and really went off. I mean, went off. And if you don't understand off, look it up. Really went off at me with my children, both of them here, and the kids didn't sleep for nights.
What was the name of that police officer? Do you remember?
Nate Stepanek.
Nate
Stepanek.
Stepanek. Is he still on the police force?
Yes, he is.
Are you bringing a civil action against him for verbal abuse,
I will
abuse
be.
of process?
It's in the works. I have many court actions, legal actions going at one time. It's become my full-time job.
So what would you say to America if you could give them a 2-minute message on the value of splitting amicably with your ex, staying out of the courts? What would you say to them?
The mark of a vindictive person is taking somebody to court. The mark of somebody that really is wrong is that of a person taking somebody to court. In the United States, there was a great man many, many years ago by the name of Jefferson that said it is error alone that needs the support of government. The truth will stand on its own. That, I believe, is exactly correct. If you are right, you won't need to take somebody to court.
Okay. How do you answer your ex charges that she couldn't reconcile with you anymore because you were too controlling? Is controlling a bad thing?
No, I don't understand the question, because I was too controlling.
Right.
Well, I think, look at the action, look at what's being done for the last couple of years of who's trying to control who. And I've been set with an impossible task, an amount of child support that I couldn't pay. And the courts had all financials, they had everything. They knew it was not possible for me to pay this. So I have to ask you, is the person pointing the finger, there's 4 pointing back.
Okay, Mr. Bray, what would your final statement be on this issue?
My final statement on this issue is that people are aware of what the government is doing. And not only is 50-50 custody absolutely imperative, however, in addition to that, the child support is a draconian measurement that is, for the most part, not needed in this country. I have yet to meet a man that ran out on his kids. I personally have never met a man that has run out on his kids. I have met a woman that has run out on her kids. Child support is not child support. It is not what the public believes.
Getting to that spiritual issue, why do you think most couples break up? What's lacking in the individual that decides they just can't live with this marriage anymore?
the person is looking outside of themselves for happiness.
Mr. Bray, was there a time when you and the assistant DA or assistant attorney for the county, Tom Deal, almost came to a resolution where you approached him and tried to make a resolution on your child support? Was there a time? And why didn't the resolution, who stopped the resolution?
There were 2 times where I met with the assistant county attorney,
Tom Deal.
Tom Dill, and I had asked if there was anything that I could do, and what he had told me was he didn't want anything out of me except my money. He didn't care about the kids, he didn't care about anything else, all he wanted was his money. Shortly after a court hearing, I approached Tom Dill and I said, so what is it that we can negotiate? We're open for negotiation from what you told me. Could we negotiate something that's possible? Social Services, Sherry Dietz, stepped in and said no. She wants the whole lot. I just spoke to her. There are no negotiations. And that was it. There was no further negotiations from that point on.
And that's why today, because they wouldn't negotiate, because of Human Services, the Sherry Dietz,
Social
Services
Services absolutely quashed all negotiations.
And so now you're looking at possible jail time for failure to pay. When you tried to resolve it.
Oh yeah, numerous times. Absolutely. I've tried to resolve it. I've tried to put logic and reason to it.
And Social Services, this Sherry Dietz stopped reason from coming in and coming to a resolution.
Yes, and in actual fact, in addition to that, it was this same woman that I went to, and I filed with Social Services. I wanted help from Social Services, and they were supposed to help me, and she was all gung-ho and saying that she was going to help me, and then the ex filed with Social Services, and Social Services took only her side. It was absolutely incredible. I didn't know that they would do that. And now they use, the only thing that's used, my application is used as proof of jurisdiction, subject matter jurisdiction, which doesn't fly. That's not what I filled it out for. But that's what it's been used for in court.
So Human Services, another government arm, actually ran the costs up for the county, created a lot of time wasting stuff in court and litigation, and stopped you from resolving where you would have paid child support of some amount.
Correct.
And so now you've paid nothing because they won't negotiate.
I've paid nothing basically because I can't, because I have the children.
And you've got the children. You're taking care of the children.
I take care of the children. I have the children.
And they still want you to pay her.
And this is called child support. It's not child support.
All right. Thank you very much for this interview.
You're welcome.
With all the publicity that's been put out there. Anyway, now back to California. California is just now passing an idiotic law this summer of 2006 that will make, now listen to this, make it a crime for anyone to offer aid to a non-custodial parent who's behind in their child support or alimony. So if you're a grandmother and your son comes home and says, Mom, they've taken everything I've got, I can't pay my rent, and you let him come in and sleep in your house, you, Grandma, become a criminal and can be prosecuted, can be put in jail. Does this make any sense? Hasn't been signed into law yet, but it probably will, because I don't think the governor has got 2 licks of sense from the left side to the right side. I mean, after all, he sleeps with a Democrat. What more can I say? I mean, literally, he sleeps with a Democrat. I mean, literally, his wife is a registered Democrat. You know, one of those out of the Kennedy variety of Democrats. This is a crazy law. So you help somebody who's destitute, and that makes you a criminal. How different is this? I want you to think about this. How different is this than what the Nazis were doing in occupied Europe, where anybody who helped a fleeing Jew, a hiding Jew, or was hiding Jewish children, anybody that helped them was subject to arrest and immediate incarceration, if not death. That's what California is doing while the public sleeps. I'm William Wagener. I hope I've given you some second thoughts in this issue of fathers without rights. But it's also sometimes mothers without rights, as in the case of April Cummings, as in the case of that other gal in Indiana. Sometimes it's grandparents without rights. Somebody has got an agenda, and they're using the VAWA law and state ancillary laws to destroy strong families, to particularly destroy good dads whose only crime is trying to be a good dad. So what do you think? Are you going to demand your legislature reverse these stupid, wrongful laws and just grant 50-50 to each parent and end the child support scam? If we did, we could save a lot of money on family court, lawyers. Of course, you know, the lawyers might take it in the pocketbook. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Well, that's my view, based on what Robert Mulchick said, based on what David Arnsberg said, based on what Gordon Bray, and you saw them all here on this show, this channel. I'm William Wagener. I hope I've given you something to think about, because if you don't take back your government, nobody else is going to. Thank you for letting me share these thoughts, share these interviews with you. These are real people who got hurt. You might be next. See you next week.